chest expander and the art of strand pulling has returned in the 21st century from the midst of extinction as a form of resistance training that is now starting to gain respect amongst the most serious lifters. Since I introduced it years ago, others such as Alex Leonidas followed suit, and more recently, C.T. Fletcher of Iron Addicts Gym has started to sing its praises and has had some of the strongest men in the world wanting to give this simple Bronze Era piece of equipment a try. Here we have Iron Bibi, one of the strongest men in the world, playing around with it, and it just serves as an indication of what is likely to come in the future. In the past, we had men like Fred Rollon claim to have developed their physiques using the chest expander alone, and who also claimed to be strand pulling champions, even owning challenge chest expanders that nobody else could pull apart, like shown here. Fred Rollon was one of the first to set the bar high, pulling apart his challenge chest expander rated at 140 kilograms or 315 pounds of tensile strength, and since then, many have attempted to break this record, and actually some have succeeded in doing so. I have of late been receiving many videos from fellow lifters displaying their strength in strand pulling, and now that we have the strongest men in the world having a try at pulling apart chest expanders at Iron Addicts Gym, for this reason I thought that in today's video I would demonstrate the 20 official competition pulls that were set by the International Steel Strand Pulling Association, abbreviated as the ISSA or ISA, back as the sport was starting to die out in the 1980s and 1990s. If you would like a copy of the handbook, then please head to my website. The purpose of this video demonstration is to allow people to use the correct technique at attempting these competition lifts, so that if anyone wishes to post their lifts online, that they at least follow the rules set by the ISSA. Please note that these pulls have been performed with Robert Baraban's chest expander that is available on my website or on Robert's website shop.handgripper.net. Now, here are the 20 official competition pulls set by the ISSA. According to the International Steel Strand Pulling Association, are pulls 1 and pull 2, and these are the right and left arm chest pull in attention. So you want to be in just a normal standing position, and for example I'm going to do the right pull. This is my left arm and it's going to be out to the side, and you want the chest expander pull to be here at chest height. You push the right arm forward like so, and you pull across the body. That is the first pull. The opposite pull is simply done the opposite way for the left arm. So you extend the right arm out. Again, the chest expander is across the chest. You push the expander handle forward so that your left hand is in front of your left shoulder, and you pull across and out to the side with your left hand. These constitute pull 1 and pull 2 of the ISSA handbook. For pulls 1 and 2, what you don't want to be doing is having the chest expander, for example, pull across but above your chin. Okay, you want to keep it at chest level. Now we're going to move on to the next pull, and that is pull 3. And pull 3 is 2 arms to chest pull in attention. So similar to the other one, we're going to grab the chest expander, and starting with hands in front of the body like so, you're going to pull across the chest like so. Okay, you don't want to pull up here, but you want to pull at chest height across the chest, and don't let the expander pull above your chest, otherwise it's a disqualification. Now, another thing that is important when doing any of these pulls is that you don't want to bend the elbows as you're doing them. You want to have the arms locked out in front or to the side at all times. That is for pulls 1, 2, as well as pull 3. Now we're going to move on to pull 4, which is the front lateral raise. Similarly, this time we're going to start with palms facing inwards, and again, arms straight, and we're going to pull up to the sides. So it's an upward front raise, right? Not like a dumbbell front raise where we're going to the front, no. It's simply a raise up from arms locked at the bottom. You can see that. So change the camera a little so you can see it. Start with arms locked at the bottom and simply raise up to the sides, keeping your arms locked, not twisting the body. That is the fourth pull, front lateral raise. Okay, the fifth pull, which is called the back lateral raise, is very similar to the front lateral raise, except we're doing it with the chest expander behind us. So let me just make sure that I'm visible here. Yes, I am. Again, arms are locked at the bottom and you raise up to the sides like so, arms locked, hold the position, and you're done. Okay, that's the back lateral raise. That is the fifth pull of this series. So the next pull is pull 6. It is called the back press in attention. And you want to hold the strands behind your back again, but this time you're allowed to start with your arms bent on the side, okay? Because you're going to be pressing outwards, okay? I'll just show you now. Again, you want to finish with your arms locked. You don't want to be twisting the body or anything. That doesn't count as a proper pull. So here's your starting position. As you can see, the chest expander is behind me. My elbows are bent. And I'm going to press out with my arms locked out at shoulder position. That is the back press. Okay, the next pull, pull 7, is the press behind the neck. Quite similar to pull 6, but we are starting with the hands at shoulder level. So once again, I'll show you from the back this time. You can see that my hands start at shoulder level, and I simply extend the chest expander out to the sides. Again, from the front now, palms are pointing outwards. The chest expander is across my shoulders behind me, and I lock my arms out to the sides. That's the press behind the neck. Okay, pull 8 is called the dislocation in attention. I know it sounds a bit weird. It's not. You're not going to dislocate your shoulders, so don't worry about it. I'll just show you. It's really hard to explain in words, so I'll just show you how it works. So you want to start with the chest expander behind you. Start like this in attention. You can see my arms are locked out. And you want to open out your arms to the side until you feel the pull of the strands, right? From this position, without bending and keeping your arms straight, you want to pull the arms up to shoulder level, okay? Like so, lock out and hold, and then you're done with that pull, right? The trick with this pull, which is pull 8, is that you can't necessarily start from the bottom. You have to find the position behind you where the strands begin to cause a little bit of tension. From there, it's like starting from a dead stop. That's what makes it so difficult. From there, you have to raise the arms up without bending the elbows. Again, fairly technical and difficult pull number 8, dislocation in attention. Okay, now we're going to look at some classic pulls. Pull 9, overhead knuckles in. Okay, so knuckles are in like so. Your hands are in an internal rotated position. You're going to bring the expander overhead like so. And you're going to pull without bending, without twisting, nothing. You're going to pull the hands out to the side. Hold the arms in this locked position behind your head. And that is pull 9, overhead, pull with knuckles in position in attention. Pull 10 is the overhead downward knuckles out, and this time you're pulling similar to before. You had knuckles in, now you're going to have knuckles out, but you're pulling to the front, and you've seen many people do this online, and I'll show you now. Again, I'm holding the chest expander with my knuckles out, so then I get into position, hands overhead, I pull directly down across the chest, hold arms in lockout. That was the overhead downward knuckles out pull 10. Okay, number 11, pull 11 is the upward chest pull, and it looks very much like when you're doing bent over dumbbell lateral raises that hit the rear deltoid and the side lateral head of the deltoid. Okay. Again, you're going to have your arms locked out in the beginning, but you're going to bend over. I've had to move the camera a little bit so you can actually see. You're going to bend over. Here's the arms in starting position, and you're going to pull outwards to the sides. Hold, arms locked out. That is pull 11, the upward chest pull. Okay, pulls 12 and 13. I'm already in position because this is rather awkward. Pulls 12 and 13 are the right and left arm press. Okay, it's a shoulder press essentially. And you can see I'm holding, it's rather difficult to get into the position as I say. It's like getting in the behind press position, right? Where you have the chest expander across your shoulders like so and behind you. But you want to bring the other arm downwards like so and hold it there. So it allows you to now press overhead with this arm, which is racked here to the side. And you want to really hold on to this, okay? Really anchor the weight down. Don't leave your arm, your grip open like this. No, really hold it down. And this is my left hand, so I'm anchoring with my left, and I'm going to be pressing with my right overhead. Make sure you're not going to hit anything overhead. And you press overhead in a locked out position, not semi-bent, completely locked out. That's the right side. Switch. Anchor this time with the right and press with the left. Now, you don't want to be doing this kind of thing, or as I said, there are many errors where you're like really struggling and twisting the body, all that. No, you just want to be completely dead straight in attention position, arm locked out overhead in both 12 and 13. That is the arm press overhead, left and right. Okay, push 14 and 15 are the left and right arm push. It is more or less a cheating version of pulls 12 and 13, which is a strict press. The difference here is that you can, once your arms are more or less straightened and you can adopt any kind of body position you need to get there, you can then straighten your body up. What disqualifies this particular pull is if you straighten out your arms after you've reached the attention position, right? This is what I mean. Here's my left arm, it's out to the side, and let's say I'm starting, because this is, in theory, this particular pull allows you to use a stronger resistance, so more resistance bands, okay? So you should be able to extend and expand that has more resistance than you would, for example, for pulls 12 and 13. Let's say I adopt this position where I'm slightly bent and I'm pressing overhead. I've reached arm locked overhead, and now I straighten up in attention. That is a successful, in this case, right arm push. What would disqualify this particular pull would be this. Let's say again, I start here, but I end up here, and then I straighten up in attention. That is a disqualification. Doing it on the left side now, just for the purposes of demonstration. Again, I'm holding, anchoring down with the left arm. And to get into this position, because it's heavier, I'm straightening out slightly to the side here, and now I stand up in attention, but I've done so when my arm is already in a locked out and overhead position, okay? They are pulls 14 and 15, the left and right arm push. Okay, we're up to pull 16 and 17, and this is the left and right arm chest pull anyhow. It's quite similar to the archer, where you start off with one arm straight and the other arm bent. It doesn't matter if it's a neutral, pronated, or supinated, whatever you like, okay? The starting position, though, must require that the non-pulling arm is straight out to the side, okay? Again, can be like this, like this. I find that having the arm like this in a neutral grip is much more efficient for these pulls. So it's an anyhow. So again, in this case, you can start with the arm bent as opposed to straight like the first two pulls, and you pull across the chest with all your strength. Again, it's an archer pull, right? Again, this is now for the left side for demonstration purposes. Start with the non-pulling arm straight out to your side. The pulling arm can be bent and you pull across, okay? Hold the arm in locked position, and that is the completion of the left arm and right arm chest pull anyhow. All right, pull 18, the two arms chest pull anyhow. We start with the expander. Again, in this case, we're holding it, but we don't have to hold it arms straight out like in pull 3, if I'm not mistaken. We can start with arms bent, right? And you open the chest expander across your chest. Again, the difference here is that you can start with your arms bent, and it allows you therefore to use more of your muscles, right? Here, this is mainly using your upper back muscles, but with your arms in a bent position, you actually now use your tricep muscles, your arm muscles, as well as your back muscles to pull across, right? One thing with pull 18, of course, is that as you pull, you don't want the expander to be above your chin. It has to be across the shoulders. And that's pull 18, the two arms chest pull anyhow. Now, just a note on pull 18 and all these anyhow movements is, as you can tell, they are not as strict. They are not as strict as the initial pulls where you start with your arms straight. So you are allowed to use other parts of your body. Now we're going to look at pull 19, which is the dislocation anyhow. Very similar to the dislocation earlier. We start with the arms, with the chest expander behind the back. And if you remember, the dislocation had us arms straight and from the position of where we find the expander slightly taut and tense, we raise, right? Now, let's say I had maybe a little bit more springs here. That would be much more difficult. And therefore, what we are allowed to do is bend over a bit, like so, and really start squeezing out that dislocation, right? So what you're allowed to do with pull 19 is to move your body, move your legs, bend your knees, bend at the hips, so you can really squeeze out that pull, right? But the arms need to remain locked at all times. You're only allowed to move the body. You're not allowed to bend the arms in pull 19, which is the dislocation anyhow. All right, we arrived to the last press, which is one of my favorites, and that is the back press anyhow. Earlier I showed you that the back press is simply pressing out the chest expander out to the sides. The back press anyhow allows you to use heavier resistance, and here you can use all kinds of body English, okay? So you simply can bend over and really struggle with the weight until you've got it in line with your shoulders and in attention, okay? So again, it is not a strict, it is, you could call it a cheating version. That's what an anyhow is. An anyhow means that you can use any technique possible to get, in this case, the chest expander expanded and open, okay? So once again, you can bend, you can start even in a bent over position, and just start with one arm if you need to, and then using your own back, press against it and open it like so, okay? As long as you end up in attention with arms outstretched behind you, that is the completion of the last pull, which is the back press anyhow. So I hope you have enjoyed this video demonstration of the 20 official ISSA pulls that are performed with a chest expander. Now, I have to admit that back in the past when competition strand pulling existed, there was a specific type of chest expander used, and that was a competition chest expander. I won't get into that, but that's really the only difference between me performing it and someone that would have, in the time of the 1980s and 1990s, performed it with an actual competition chest expander. Now, I just want to share some of my own thoughts regarding these whole 20 competition lifts, right? My only criticism, really, with this whole 20 competition lifts is that much like odd lifting over a century ago, when they had many different lifts, in my opinion, there are too many pulls, 20 in total, in strand pulling competition. I particularly only favor a handful of these, and these are pull 3, the 2 arms chest pull, pull 6, the back press, pull 7, the behind the neck press, pull 9, the overhead downward knuckles in pull, pull 10, the overhead knuckles out pull, and pulls 13 and 14, which are the left and right arm press. These are 6 pulls in total. And even that is probably too much, right? That could probably be cut down to 3 or 4. I would argue that if strand pulling is to come back into the fitness industry, and especially in competition like strongman competition, then a shorter list of pulls would be easier to judge and make the sport more popular. But that is just my opinion. I mean, think about it. Nobody wants to sit down through a competition of several athletes, tens, maybe more, right? And see each of them perform 20 different pulls. I think it would just take too long and make the whole event boring. Imagine having to sit through every lifter. I mean, I personally would be bored after just having seen the first athlete perform his 20 pulls, right? Another factor would be exhaustion. Wouldn't it be better to have athletes preserve their energy and perform just a handful of pulls and put an all-out effort into these, as opposed to 20 different pulls where they have to really conserve their energy for each pull? I don't think it's just very efficient to have 20 different pulls in a competition. What about having to teach every single one of these techniques, every single one of these pulls to athletes? Again, 20 different techniques is a lot to remember. Better to teach just a handful of techniques done properly and see some real strongmen have a strand pulling battle. I think that would be freaking awesome. Again, these are just some of my preliminary thoughts, but I would like to know what you guys think about all this. You know, what do you think? Do you think we can bring competitive strand pulling back? Should it return to the strongman stage? International? I definitely would like to see it back on the strongman stage and perhaps one day see it reach a world competitive status. That would be awesome. I mean, imagine seeing it on the Arnold Classic, right? And the strongmen of present day taking up the challenge of pulling apart a 140 kilogram roll-on chest expander. Pah! That would be awesome. That would be something, right? So I do hope you have enjoyed this video on what I hope will be the seed that will begin competitive strand pulling again. Like any new endeavor, certain guidelines must be followed to set standards that everyone can follow, and in doing so, fair competition can begin. If you have enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe, and leave me your comments, and don't forget to share it. I would love this video to get the attention that it deserves to bring back competitive strand pulling. You can do your bit by sharing it, so please do that. That's it from me. This is the Golden Era Bookworm saying bye for now. Head to www.goldenerabookworm.com for the biggest range of classic old school bodybuilding books as ebooks, e-magazines such as Iron Man and Reg Park Journal, high quality bodybuilding posters of the Golden Era stars, merchandise and classic gymwear featuring Steve Reeves, Marvin Eder, John Grimmick, Reg Park, and many other Golden Era stars. For those wishing to build a classic physique, lose fat and build muscle, online training is also available. Collectibles such as rare autographed photos from the Golden Era stars are also available, and to collaborate, please get in touch. Now, if you're interested in learning more about Vince Gironda's approach to bodybuilding, his principles, and all these tips of wisdom that he has, I mean, there's so much stuff that probably hasn't been proven by science, and it will take science to prove or disprove Vince. But to be honest, these 3 books, I believe, which I call the Classic Physique Bundle, are the best books that Vince ever came out with. And they, of course, are the Wild Physique, the Master Series, and the Pro Series. Have a look at it this way. The Wild Physique, I believe, is like the ABCs of Vince Gironda's principles to bodybuilding. He teaches you the exercises and his principles, but how do you put them together? Well, the Master Series is a 14-month program of using all of these principles, all of the diets that Vince came out with, all of the exercises, and of course the Pro Series was a book that he came out with later on, specially targeted for getting into competition. It's just these 3 books, as I call it, the Classic Physique Bundle, Vince's best work, and available, of course, at www.goldenerabookworm.com.